Greetings, beautiful earthlings. My name is Star. If you are new here, I don't know how you found me, but I am super grateful to have you. And if you are returning, y'all the real MVP, you already know. So I want to have a real out there conversation with you guys today. And I've actually done a video kind of touching on this before a little bit. And it was a video talking about, like, does our perception of a tarot deck influence its energy, right? I don't remember how long ago I made that video. It's probably like a year ago or something. But in the time since I filmed that video, I have sort of tweaked this idea a little bit, and I've started to really think about this. Like really think about this. Okay, so I want to preface this by saying, first of all, this entire video is going to be my UPG, okay? My unverified personal gnosis. My UPGs. That means this whole thing is my own opinion, and I made the whole thing up in my head. Okay, so this could be real. This could also not be real. But keep in mind, this entirely depends on you, what you believe, your perceptions of all of these really big things, such as divination, spirit, the spirit realm, spirit guides, things like that, okay? So, this is gonna be a lot. It's gonna sound real crazy. If you were to show this to somebody who does not read tarot, who is not a spiritual person, they're gonna be like, that girl needs to be locked up. This is crazy talk. So I want to let you guys know, if you're brand new beginners to tarot, this might be a lot for you, this video, like mentally in your brain. I'm not like trying to be insulting. I mean, this is a lot to think about, and the more I've sat with this and the more I've thought about it, the more I've realized it's way too easy to get lost in this train of thought, and it's way too easy to start to lose yourself on this train of thought. So please take everything that I say here, please take everything that I say here with a grain of salt, okay? Just remember, I'm just some crazy stranger on the internet spouting UPGs, okay? But like for real though, for real, those of you guys who are also crazy with me, let's be for real about tarot energy, okay? So I have a deck of cards here. This is Loki's deck. And if you guys do not know about my previous video that I did, that I talked about, where I was like, if, you know, blah 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 blah, right? I'll just keep saying what I'm saying. So if you guys did not see my previous video about the energy of the tarot deck, right? What I basically said in that video was, I feel, UPG, I feel like the way that we perceive a deck at first glance, whether we like the deck because of, you know, you like the size, you like the cardstock, you like the colors, you like the imagery, whatever, right? Whether you like the deck or you don't like the deck immediately, right? Whenever we buy a deck and we pull it out of the box for the first time and we flip through it for the first time, we all form an opinion. Whether you like to believe it or not, you form a first impression opinion. This can always be changed down the road, right? The longer you work with the deck, you might end up liking it more. The more decks you work with, you might realize you like this one more than that one, right? We all form an opinion about a tarot deck the second we get it. And I feel like from the moment you open that box, you are creating an egregore of that tarot deck. For those of you guys who do not know what an egregore is, this is a wonderful, fantastic idea that TikTok has brought to everybody's attention. And if you guys are not already following me on TikTok, please go do so, shameless plug. But this is an idea that TikTok has brought to our attention as New Age tarot readers, right? Is the idea of egregores. So egregores are essentially a thought form or energetic form that we create ourselves, because everything is energy, right? Everything on a base molecular level, everything is energy, so energy can only be transformed, right? So the argument I had before was, are we creating the energy of the tarot deck based on the way we feel about it, right? You hear tarot readers talk about this time and time again. Do not handle your decks when you're stressed out, because you're putting that energy into the deck, right? That is one of the biggest things I hear people say to new beginners of tarot. You are putting your energy into that deck, literally. And what that means is every time you touch it, that's energy transference, that's heat transference. Molecularly, scientifically, this is an energetic exchange. This physical action is an energetic exchange. You looking at the picture on the card with your eyeballs and registering the colors of the card, the images of the card, that is energy exchange. From card to eyes to brain. That's an energy exchange, okay? And then you start to go a step further and you add memories to this card. You add stories to this card, right? Again, energy transference. Not only are you putting all of that into the card is also impressing itself upon you, upon your memory through energetic exchange, right? If you want to take away the whole scientific energetic exchange thing, you are impressing your energy upon this card, and this card is impressing its energy upon you in your memory, because when you look at it, you know that this is the Six of Cups. You know that this card talks about nostalgia, right? But whatever else you add to it is going to be saved in that card, because you think about that every single time you pick up that card, right? So again, if you have different decks that have different imagery, you are going to have different relations with each of those decks, because you have a different idea or a different memory that you impress upon each card, because of the way you feel with it, because of the way that you bond with it, because of the way it looks, it feels, whatever, right? Okay, so that's the beginning part of my argument. Yes, I do think that we create the energy of the tarot deck, right? What I mean by that is I feel like we personally create these personalities for our decks. And the reason that this came to my attention is because I have a series here. I haven't deleted it. I have a series on my channel called Meet My Tarot Decks. And this is a video series I did based off of the Chaotic Witch Aunt's first or second YouTube video, which was Meet My Tarot Decks. And Frankie introduced their tarot decks and all of the personalities of each of those decks, right? So I did the same thing, but instead of cramming 30 decks into one episode, I decided to make it a series. And I'm an animist, which means I believe everything has life, right? Everything has life force, even inanimate objects. I'm not the type of person to break a box in half after somebody drew a smiley face on it, right? There was one time I saw a pizza box which said, "Recycle me so I can have a new life and be another pizza box to feed another family," like something like that. And I was like, huh, like I had to have a tear, because they used my empathy against me to recycle a cardboard box. But I began to create a personality for this pizza box, right? I personalized the box. I humanized the box. This is what animism is. I believe everything has life force. I believe everything has feelings and thoughts, right? Whether that's true or not, I know some people are going to be like, you think that the floor has feeling every time you step on it? Yeah, actually, I do. But this is what, to me, made personalities of tarot decks seem feasible. Didn't sound crazy to me, because I believe everything has life. Because everything is energy. If I'm alive and other living things are alive, which are energy, that means other things which are inanimate or not alive also have energy in some capacity, because energy just transforms, right? Energy doesn't die, it just transforms. So this is why in my brain, yes, tarot decks, real, they each have their own personalities. And the more I started to bond with these decks, the more I could even sift through the energy enough to pinpoint a literal name for these personalities, right? This is what I'm saying about people are going to be like, wow, this girl's crazy, she need to be locked up. If you watched any of those videos of my Meet My Tarot Deck series, a bunch of those decks I started out with had names. I have not taken the names off of those decks, because those were names that were given to me for those decks. I'm not going to change that just because my opinion has started to transform a little bit, right? But I no longer go out of my way to search the energy for names for tarot decks, okay? This has nothing to do with my personal, spiritual, religious beliefs, right? Nothing like that. I don't think I have demons attached to my tarot deck, but it's because I perceive demons differently than other people. But at the end of the day, I do believe tarot decks have life. I believe that they have personality. I believe that the bonding time, the questions we ask them, the energy we put into them is received in some way by the tarot deck, not just by spirit, not just by the spirit guides or the deities that are talking through the deck, right? I feel like at the end of the day, my tarot deck is genuinely listening because I am also genuinely listening to my tarot deck. We get messages through the tarot deck. That's what we do. It is a divination tool, right? However, this had started to spiral into a thought for me of the egregore of the tarot deck. Not just my tarot deck specifically, right? I mean, in general, the egregore of tarot. If you want to go so far as to have a whole spiritual argument, do that by yourself, okay? That's not what I'm doing here. But, I mean, the egregore of a tarot deck specifically. The idea that pieces of paper put together with images on them could speak to us as humans in a way where we can communicate from a higher realm to other humans, right? Whether that be that you believe that the higher realm's communicating to the humans or that the humans are communicating through the higher realm to other humans, whether you believe that we're channeling the higher realm or that the higher realm is speaking through us. Whichever side of the egregore argument you want to be on, because there's plenty. I'm sure everyone can make their own point about what they think a tarot deck is, what they think the energy of the tarot deck is. Is it really just spirit, right? All of spirit, all of the universe, all of the gods, and all of the spirit guides, and every little last molecule of energy possible communicating with itself, with each other, right? Whether you want to argue that, or you want to argue that each individual printed copy of a tarot deck holds its own energy, holds its own personality, or whether you want to argue that all of this is hullabaloo. Either which way, I cannot get this out of my brain, and now it is yours to also have in your brain for the rest of forever, right? I think I did a video a while back on who am I actually communicating with when I'm reading tarot, right? It was a while ago. It could have been like 2 years ago, to be honest. But yes, it's entirely possible that you are channeling other realms, right? There's no way to disprove that. Just like there is no way to disprove that the tarot deck itself does not have its own energy. Maybe you could take a picture of it under a fancy infrared camera and go, look, there's no heat signature, it doesn't have life, right? But can you really genuinely prove that this tarot deck does not have its own personality, that this tarot deck does not have its own energy, that this tarot deck does not have its own memories, right? If something like water can hold memories, why can't paper, which was once wood, right? It takes wood and water to create pulp, to make paper, to make cards. Every single one of these cards is stamped with ink. That takes materials. All of those materials which go into the making of the tarot deck and the making of the tools which make the tarot deck, all of those things are made up of energy. All of those things have the possibility of holding memory within the molecules. So if all of those things can hold memory in the energy and create this, why can't this also have energy and personality and memories? So this is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful mystery of tarot. Beautiful mystery of tarot. We're never going to figure this out. Never, ever, ever. There's never going to be an answer. There's never going to be scientific proof. There's never going to be enough scientific proof, right? Even if you prove it all scientifically, the naysayers are going to say, I believe, right? I believe. I was there. I did it. I read with it. I felt it. I saw it, right? you can never disprove that a tarot deck has energy, has personality. Therefore, the tarot egregore. That's what I got. Because this, I think about this all the time, you guys, all the time, because I have different decks which I use for communication with different deities, which I use for communication with different spirits, which I use for regular readings. There are some decks I use for just my time. There are some decks that I use for just clients. There are some decks I use for just TikTok, because I feel like the memories that I'm creating when I'm holding that deck are being put into that deck. So if I use a deck for TikTok readings only, it is becoming my TikTok deck. I have memories with that deck of doing TikTok readings with it. That means that that deck also has memories with me of doing TikTok readings, and probably nothing else, right? Or other than being in a bag. But like, genuinely, I think about this all the time. And I really hope that it gives you guys something to think about. I know that it's a lot. It sounds real crazy. It sounds real crackpot, like coming out of my mouth, and I know it, and that's okay. It's completely okay, because this is something that needs to be talked about, because we are here. We're here in 2023 talking about egregores everywhere, right? You can say that Star Sparrow is an egregore. That's not my real name. You guys know that. That's my stage name. That's my tarot name, my brand, right? Star Sparrow's my brand. But I am not Star Sparrow at the end of the day. That is an egregore of me that I have created to take on the brand, the socials, the tarot, all of that. That's Star Sparrow. So if I can so easily create an egregore, of myself, a little branching off egregore of myself, and we create egregores of everything, right? Who's to say the tarot deck is not also an egregore? Who's to say every single individual tarot deck is not its own egregore, right? Because an egregore grows with how much you feed it. So if you keep interacting with this tarot deck off of the basis that this is Loki's deck, and this is a mischievous deck, and cards get lost all the time, and mishaps happen to it, and all sorts of crazy readings come from it because this is Loki's deck, so the energy's crazy, the egregore feeds itself. The more you work with it and you say, hey Loki, we're going to use this deck today, that's me calling in the energy of Loki to talk through this deck, right? And the more that you do that with every deck, whether it be you calling it by a name, whether it be a name you gave it or a name it gave you, you're calling it by a name or you're not, right? You're interacting it with the same way or you're not. Whatever you're doing with that deck, it remembers. Whatever you're doing with that deck, you remember. Therefore, it is a shared memory, I think, which creates the egregore. I think it feeds the egregore, because when I put a tarot deck away and I don't touch it and I don't like it and I don't read with it, when I pick it up, it feels cold. It feels cold. And I don't mean feels in my hand, right? It doesn't, create, I guess it creates heat signature the more you handle it, right? But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it feels cold, like energetically. It feels like there's nothing there. And it feels like there's nothing there because I haven't spent time with it. I haven't bonded with it. I haven't read with it. Even decks that I've bonded with but never read with, they feel cold because all I've done is just shuffle them and put them back, shuffle them and put them back. Look at them, shuffle them, put them back. I haven't talked to it. I haven't asked it questions. I haven't done anything with it. I haven't asked anything of it, right? So it doesn't really know of anything outside of shuffling and putting it back, shuffling and putting it back. Therefore, there's not really any energy. There's no energetic memory in that deck, right? So I think that the idea of like egregores, energetic memory, like all of that, I think it's so fascinating, especially when you think about something like water having memory. And it takes water to make this deck, and it, just think about like the recycling of all life. Like, this could have been a tarot deck before this, right? This could have been 3 tarot decks reincarnated together through the recycling process. Like, it's incredible. It's amazing to think about. And that's why I said the more you think about it, the more lost in the thought you will get. And the more you start to really look at tarot in this way, it's very easy to get turned off of tarot. So that's why I wanted to preface this in the beginning by saying it's easy to lose yourself in this thought. And I want you guys to understand that if you hear this video and it stays in your ear like a little earwig, and it stays in your ear and it stays in your brain, right? And you can't get it out and you're trying to read tarot and you're like, I can't look at my tarot deck the same. I need you to drop whatever I said, okay? Because I've done that to myself before quite a few times with this thought where I start not wanting to read tarot, and I won't be bonding with any decks or anything because of two reasons. There was one, it's never because I'm freaked out, right? Clearly I'm in this profession. I know what I signed up for. I don't freak out when I see or hear things. But one, either I feel like I don't need to bond with it because I've already created the Egregore and bonded with it, so all I have to do now is feed it every once in a while and it'll be fine. Or two, I think that like there's no reason to even keep drawing cards because at the end of the day, I already know what the cards are going to say because I'm telling myself my reality, right? It's too easy to get lost here in this train of thought, in this 3D, 5D reality, right? This looking at things as energy and looking at everything as energy. It's too easy to get lost, you guys, to just look at the wall and be like, I am the wall. We are the same energy. So I want you to understand, if this was a lot for you, it's okay. You don't have to think like me. You don't have to understand me. You don't have to approve of what I'm saying. You don't have to believe anything that I'm saying. And you most definitely don't have to follow what I'm saying, okay? I'm not telling you that this is what you should be thinking or feeling about your tarot deck. This was just a discussion piece because this is something that I think about on a regular basis because I have gone about 6 years now with a tarot deck in my hand every single day. Not a day goes by that I'm not shuffling a tarot deck at work, that I'm not shuffling a tarot deck at home, that I'm not playing with my tarot deck in the bathroom. Yes, I have a bathroom tarot deck. Anyways, not a day has gone by in 6 years that I have not put a tarot deck down. And I think that that's what contributes to me thinking a little bit deeper about it than most people. Because most people are just going to go, oh, mystical, magical spirit, why is he not calling me back, right? And then they get their answer and they put the tarot deck down and they go, I don't believe you anyways, and they live their life. But like, genuinely, for the people who are super dedicated to tarot, the people who know that this is a lifelong commitment to knowledge and spirit work and energy work and healing and teaching, and those of you guys who are on this path with me that know what I'm talking about, that understand what I'm saying, that understand what I'm feeling right now, I want you guys to understand that this is a beautiful line of work. Beautiful, amazing, magical line of work that I am so grateful every single day to be a part of, and I literally dreamed of doing this. And I'm here doing it. It's beautiful what the world turns into when you start understanding that you and that thing are the same energy and you can just reach out and touch it. When you understand that you can literally step into the energy of what you want to be, nothing is out of reach. And that's a very big part of tarot. Not only you, your place in the world, your journey here, right? That's important. That's why you are where you are. That's why Spirit chose to commune with you in this way, right? But this is gonna go on for a long time if you've chosen this as a profession. And I'm just saying that you're gonna start to look at your deck a little sideways a couple years from now. And you're gonna wonder, what's up with this conversation we're having with Spirit, right? And it's okay. Like, that's the whole point, is for you to question everything. It's for you to go in search of answers. It's for you to keep learning. It's for you to keep finding things out, to keep searching for things, to keep digging. That's the point. Keep asking questions, keep digging. So I want you guys to know that if this was too much for you and it's a lot and you feel like you need some air, go ahead. You don't ever have to watch this video again. I'm sorry that I gave you a headache. Go get some water. But for those of you guys who are with me and you're like, girl, I feel you. Yes, okay? Yes. I know I see you and I know you see me, and we're here together, and that's awesome. That's fantastic. And I really hope that if you made it to the end of this video, you give me a big old thumbs up, because that really helps me out so very much. And of course, if you guys want to go check it out, my link tree's in the description box as always, so that you can go get my socials, go check out my shop, all those fun things, do whatever you want to do. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I really love being able to just talk sometimes. If you haven't noticed that already, if my 300 plus videos have not shown you that I just want to talk, I could talk about this forever. So I really would love to hear your guys' comments down below. Even if, you know, you find this video 3 years after I made it, I want to know what you think about this, because this is a video that I keep going back to myself. The one about, you know, does our perception of a tarot deck create its energy? Or, you know, I love thinking about this. I love thinking about it, because I can literally tell myself that I can shape the egregore of each tarot deck. I can shape the energy of each tarot deck. It doesn't have to be what it is. It can be, and I can leave it, and I can be fine with it, and I can grow to love it, right? Or I can shape a certain tarot deck to be what I want it to be and leave all the others to be their free selves, right? It's amazing what you can think of when you really put your mind to it and you just start thinking, right? You just let loose and you don't think, oh, I shouldn't think that. Let it go. Let it go. Just think and ask questions and keep going, because that's how you're gonna make it in this industry. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. I really hope that wherever you are, you have a beautiful, wonderful day, my friends, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Blessed be.